Hi, everyone. I'm Kelly O'Horo, and this is Adaptable Behavior Explained. Hi, everybody. Thanks for tuning in to Adaptable today. I'm Kelly O'Horo, your host, and today we're going to talk about something that I've noticed that I've been going through, and that's making friends as an adult. It sounds like it's simple, but it's not really simple because we don't have all these baked-in opportunities like we did when we were kids to make friends. So if you've ever thought about, why is it so hard? You're not alone. We all are hardwired for connection. We crave it, in fact, and we're wired for it. But the older that we get, the harder it seems to find our people. So today we're going to talk about why that is and how to start building friendships that feel way more life-giving so that you are cultivating connection that serves you. So let's talk about why it feels so hard to make adult friends. When you think about it, when we were kids, friendships would happen almost by accident, right? We're on the playground, we're in class, we have sports. But as adults, life gets way more crowded. We have our careers, we have our families, we have our responsibilities, and we just run out of minutes because all of these things compete for our time, for our energy, and for our capacity. So the thing about that is our needs for connection doesn't go away just because we grew up. And neuroscience talks about how we're hardwired for this connection. We do better in groups. The greatest level of excitement and joy happens in connection with someone else. And loneliness isn't uncomfortable, it's dangerous. Our depression gets higher, our resilience and lifespan shortens when we're lonely. So it's really important that you prioritize this. And why is it so hard as an adult? Well, we just have way fewer built-in opportunities as an adult to do this. We don't have homeroom anymore. We don't have debate club or band, right? We don't have these places that we go where there's people that are interested in the same things that we're interested in. And so we have to work harder to find opportunities and find connection with people that might be like-minded. And one of the things that doesn't go away that happened when we were kids, but there were a way bigger pool of people to choose from when we were in school is that fear of rejection. Anytime we are going toward a new person, we know we're going to deal with potential rejection. If we're interested in meeting somebody and they're not that interested in us, right? We've lived life enough to know that it stings when someone doesn't think we're their people, even when we want them to be our people. And then there's the time issue, right? The busyness. We're all overcommitted, overtaxed, and friendship takes time. Cultivating time and connection can feel scarce. And so we definitely have to prioritize and shift our time. Think about the last time you met someone that you liked. Maybe you were at work or at a community event. Did you think, I'd love to grab a coffee with them, but then you didn't ask? You never followed through. So there's this gap that we're talking about where we run into people that might be worth connecting with, but we don't initiate that or take the time to cultivate that potential relationship, and we sometimes are afraid to take the risk. So another thing that I love that I've recently explored was in Mel Robbins' Let Them theory, which was proximity, energy, and timing. And she talks about these 3 keys to connection. And I've found that to be true most of my life. Most of my friends are people that I work with because I'm there all day and I do things with them. And we have our passion and our profession in common. And so we've got the energy expenditure, we've got the proximity, and then there's the timing. And so, not everybody has a place they can make friends with or is that interested in the people that they work with. I've been really lucky because I've made great friends with people I've worked with over the years. But that proximity piece is really kind of critical, right? You need to be where people are that you might be interested in because friendships don't grow in isolation. We're not going to make friends if we hang out at home. We're not going to make friends if we don't get in the arena where there's other people. And then we've got that energy piece, which is about how we are drawn to others. People are drawn to warmth and curiosity and non-judgment or openness. And so we have to show up with that energy that says, I want to know you. I want to be curious about you and I want to learn about you. And then, of course, we've got the timing factor. Sometimes it's just not the right season for you or for them, and that's okay. Just keep showing up. I know that some of my friendships have definitely faltered in this season recently for me because I've been really overcommitted with some caretaking responsibilities. And so I haven't really had as much friend time. And that's been hard. Doesn't mean I don't long for it. just means that we need it. So I was thinking about a client who talked to me about a meetup. We have, I think they're everywhere, meetups where you can join a group for tennis or a group for hiking or a group for, let's say you're interested in pottery or whatever. So you can join these groups and then you can end up being around people that have like-minded interests. And so this gal on my caseload was talking about joining a hiking group. And she was like, it changed everything. And she didn't click with everybody, but there was a lot of people, and the proximity to a lot of these people gave her more chances, more people that were there interested in what she was interested in. And then, of course, she showed up friendly and curious and energetic, which helped her to draw people in and helped her to connect. And then, of course, timing. She's interested in hiking and fitness and staying out when she wanted. And so the repeated attempts at these hikes gave her opportunity to land in a friendship where there was another woman in the group that was really ready also for deeper friendship and connection. And now they're like best friends. And so you've got to put yourself out there in order to cultivate those relationships and those friendships. And so now we're going to talk about the emotional side of things, which is the tricky part. And some of us are just not willing to risk the rejection. But I want to talk a little bit about why it's really worth it. As a counselor, I'll tell my clients, I'm not everybody's flavor. I'm not everybody's cup of tea, and that's okay. And that if we need to find another person for them, it's not personal. I totally understand that. And the same thing goes with friendships. Making friends as an adult takes risk. You might not be someone's flavor. You might not be someone's vibe. You might reach out and get a no or several I'm busy's in a row, and that might feel awkward or like rejection. But here's the truth. Everyone wants connection. Everyone. There's no exception to that. And so you want to continue to keep trying and reaching out. One of my best friends ever is in my close, tight circle because she was one of the first friends that I ever had that reached out to me. We first met many, many years ago. We were on a vacation and we met at the beach. And afterwards, she followed up with a phone call. Let's get dinner. And I thought, no one does that. And no one takes the initiative. And she was also a planner. And so it was really refreshing for me to meet someone who took the initiative. And it wasn't just me that took the reins and the opportunity for connection. And I was like so excited about that. And then what I learned was through several meetings like that, our families had a lot in common. Our kids were relatively the same age, and we developed a friendship. And then we started doing things like trips together, and we really deepened our relationship. But had we not come up to each other, at the beach that day, this wouldn't have happened. But it took that risk. It took that potential for rejection and facing it, because that's what opens doors. So rejection doesn't mean that you're unworthy. It just means that there might be timing issues for the person, or maybe the fit isn't just right. Just keep trying. That reward is eventually a friend or friends who gets you. And that is really worth the discomfort, because we really do better when we do life with others. And as we age, this is harder. And so finding your people is trickier, but we have to kind of reduce some of the limitations that we used to put on our choices. So not necessarily thinking people need to be the same age as you or into the same, faith as you, or necessarily the same interests. We want to expand our circle of potential or possibility when we're making adult friends. So start with some shared interests. Join a book club or a fitness class. I know that my husband and I just recently changed locations where we keep our boat, and we're now part of a yacht club. And we're going to all of these events because it's giving us a chance to meet new people and find common interests with people. And it's been really fun to explore new relationships with people that I wouldn't have had opportunities to do that with. But we're part of a club where people are all interested in boating and water, and there's a shared interest. And we've made friends that are much younger than us, and we've made friends that are much older than us. And what's really important is that you don't limit yourself by age, because some of those rich friendships can really span decades, and that's kind of fun. And I really enjoy, the wisdom from making friends that are older, and also the vitality and the vivaciousness of making friends with people that are younger. It keeps you wanting to stretch. One of my dear friends is quite a bit younger, and professionally we have a lot in common. And so we've really bonded over shared values and shared interests and similar personalities. And And over time, she's become part of an inner circle that I value. And so connection isn't needing to be limited by age. It's about resonance. It's about energy. And so make sure you don't limit yourself by those things. So here's some practical tips. Say yes to invitations. Do some inviting. Take the risk. Make the phone call. Extend yourself. Invite someone for a walk or for a coffee or to a workout class. And, use technology wisely. They're not just disconnecting. There's lots of apps and groups that you can join that can help you find like-minded people. I'm pretty sure that Bumble even has a section on Bumble Friends. So you can join Bumble to have like friend groups. And so ultimately use some technology to help. There's Facebook groups and meetup groups and all kinds of things where you can join in your region, wherever you are, to create connection with people that have similar interests. And then, of course, with making friends, you've got to balance that vulnerability and boundaries, because friendship requires vulnerability, but we don't want to overshare. We can't hotwire connection. And you want to share who you are, but not share everything about who you are at the beginning. Start small, share a little, see how that's received, and see how they share back, because healthy friendships take time and they grow in mutual respect and in reciprocity. And although we want a hotwire connection by sharing too much too soon sometimes because we're lonely, that's not necessarily a good foundation for a true friendship. And so we want to pace ourselves with that. So I know this topic is tricky. I know that it's hard. I've explored moments of feeling really lonely because I work a lot, and knowing that I can't only make friends at work, and I can't only do things with people I work with, or I won't have connections and friendships outside of my workspace, and realizing that it takes a lot of discipline to stretch and to reach out and to cultivate relationships that are not as proximity or energy or timing specific, and we have to stretch a little bit so that we can cultivate those relationships. And the other thing that you can do, even when you're not in regular timing with people, is just sharing a thoughtful text. I get a text from one of my really dear friends where we don't talk much or connect much, but she just sends, "Miss you." And it's just out of the blue, and it always makes my day, and it makes me think of her and some of the special time that we shared together. And I think those are really sweet moments that just say, you're on my mind and you're in my heart. And those are ways that we can continue to cultivate connection even when we don't have a lot of time to commit to being in physical proximity or relationship with people. The other thing you can do is pick up a FaceTime call and grab a cup of coffee and say, I don't have time to go across town, but I'd love to have coffee with you. You make a coffee, I'll make a coffee, and we can FaceTime and share in a good laugh about what's going on with your lives and connection. And that way you can continue to cultivate that time and space together. So I hope that you found this helpful. I know that this is a tricky topic, and it is, this is a consensus reality. Most adults think making friends as adults is trickier, but we can do it. We can stretch, we can risk vulnerability, we can risk rejection, and we can encourage ourselves to be accountable that we will do better in connection with people. And so I challenge you to go out and stretch and find more people to spend life with if you don't have very many adult friends. If you found this conversation helpful, give us a like or subscribe. I always appreciate that. It helps get the information out further to more people. And please drop us a comment if this is something that resonates with you. And if you have suggestions about things you've done to make friends in adulthood, please share it with our viewers. We're all looking to learn together. But until we meet again, don't forget to lead with love. It'll never steer you wrong.